Welcome to Intrado Channel Insights, a bite-sized video series to educate and empower our channel partners. And today we are joined by Julie, one of our amazing account executives who works with partners across Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and more. And we are talking about the hospitality industry and how channel partners like you can help customers stay compliant with E911 regulations. So Julie, thanks for joining us.
Course, thank you so much for having me, Hannah. I absolutely love this topic. And it's really relevant in a place like Florida, my home state, where hospitality is such a huge part of our economy.
Absolutely. So let's set the stage. Why is hospitality such a strong fit for E911 conversations right now?
Yeah, well, hotels and resorts face a lot of unique challenges. You've got really large properties, you've got guests and staff moving all around constantly, and there is a huge focus on safety and reputation. And many of these businesses still rely on outdated phone systems that aren't compliant with Kari's Law or Ray-Baum's Act. And this is where our partners come in.
That's right. And like you mentioned, so many of these properties or businesses are not compliant with laws like Kari's Law or Ray Baum's Act still. And do you mind giving us a quick refresher on what those laws actually require?
Of course. So Kari's Law really requires that anyone can dial 911 directly from a hotel phone. They don't need to dial 9 prefix to get out. It also mandates that on staff get notified when that 911 call is made. And Ray Baum's Act takes it just a step further and requires that caller's information right down to their room number and or the floor.
Very interesting. So, what happens if these organizations or these hotels, for example, don't meet those requirements?
There are real risks for non-compliances, everything from lawsuits to fines, even bad PR, but more importantly, it could really delay an emergency response. If responders don't know exactly where a caller is, that can cost lives. It's really about protecting the guest and the staff and, of course, your brand.
Yes, absolutely. Something I'm sure most organizations want to avoid at all costs, any of those risks. So, how can our channel partners step in and support their hospitality customers from here?
Yeah, this is a really great opportunity for partners just to kind of lead that conversation. Many hotels don't really realize that they're not compliant until somebody brings it up or someone or something happens. Our partners can really position Intrado as a turnkey solution that helps them get ahead of that risk before there's a problem.
And maybe we can talk about those solutions really quickly. What makes Intrado a good fit for these hospitality environments to stay compliant?
Uh, Well, we have our emergency routing service and then, of course, our emergency gateway. And they're both very flexible and they're very scalable. So, whether a hotel has a legacy PBX or even a newer UCAS, we can integrate and make sure that those 911 calls go directly to the correct PSAP with all the location data that's needed. And it doesn't really matter if it's just a single hotel or if it has many, properties. We've got it all covered.
Absolutely. So, from the partner side, what should they do next?
Yep. Well, first, all that we ask is that you just simply start the conversation. Ask someone, what would happen if someone called 911 from a hotel room right now? What would happen? That one question alone really opens up the door for a deeper meeting. And if that customer or prospect agrees to the meeting, then all you need to do is simply just register that as a lead with Intrado, and we will simply take it from there. We will scope out the opportunity, we will do the presentation and the solution, and really support you throughout that whole deal.
We really do give that white glove service to all of our partners and customers. So, any final tips or words of encouragement for our partners in their hospitality focused territories?
Sure. Florida's hospitality market is really huge, but every state has its own set of similar needs. Whether you're talking or bringing E911 into the conversation, you're really helping your customers to meet what we call their duty of care and can reduce any serious risk that might be out there. That's not just valuable, it's really essential. And, Intrado's goal is to help you.
Yes, love that, Julie. Well, thanks so much for sharing your insight. And just a reminder to our partners, it is not just about compliance. It really is about duty of care, like Julie mentioned. So one last mention, to our partners, for more sales enablement tips and tricks, you can always access our channel partner playbook, which is packed full of different sales enablement tips that you may need for hospitality customers even. You can find that in our partner portal, or you can reach out to partners@intrado.com and we will get you a copy. So thanks again, Julie. We'll see everyone next time on Intrado Channel Insights.
Thanks, Hannah.